Thank you. I think we all acknowledge that the weaponisation of the climate wars has been regrettable over some time now. However, looking forwards, and with any good plan, it's founded on actions, accountabilities and success measures. So my question is directed to Minister Bowen, and that is, casting your mind forwards in 3 years' time, coincidentally as we head towards the polls, what will success look like?
So in this field, Minister, what would success look like when we go to the polls?
Well, success will look like getting on with the job and bedding down our reforms, and people will be able to say they ended the climate wars and they got on with it. They got on with the job of building transmission, renewables. They were a responsible international citizen and they created a lot of jobs as they did so, and a lot of investment, particularly in the regions. We've got to bring Australia with us. There's been too much division, inner cities versus regions, people saying climate change is an inner city obsession. It's an opportunity for the whole country. Yes, it's a challenge, but it's a massive opportunity for the entire country. A lot of jobs to be created as we build the green hydrogen, the transmission, the renewables, the lot. That's what success will look like. And in terms of accountability, I'll be reporting annually to Parliament on our progress and any problems we've had, any success we've had, and I look forward to putting that very openly and transparently before the Parliament as Climate Change Minister. It's the commitment we took the election. It'll be an opportunity to assess how we're doing as a country, how the government's doing, and for the Parliament to focus on the issue.
Let's hear from everyone on that. What will success look like, do you think, in 3 years, Sarah?
From an electricity industry perspective, we want to continue on our transition to a lower emissions future. We're committed to net zero by 2050, and actually the organisation I work for has an interim target in 2035 of a 55% reduction on emissions.
Do you reckon the government should take
well,
that one
we'd
forward
love
as
to
well?
start the conversation, Virginia, and I'm hopeful we might have that opportunity sometime in the future. But also, you know, to date in Australia, the electricity industry has really done all of the heavy lifting on emissions reduction and climate change, reaching climate change targets. And what we want to do in the electricity industry is now start to help other sectors begin their transformational journey, sectors like agriculture and transport. And that's where the sorts of electrification projects that Saul's talking about could really come into play. And I believe that in 3 years' time, we should be have some really exciting progress in those discussions.
Tony Wood?
Grattan Institute, we like numbers. And the number we should see, and the chart we should see, and the chart Mr Bowen should be able to present, is the chart that shows our emissions that were not heading towards net zero by 2050. That chart has bent down. The number that the government's put in place today is on a straight line to net zero by 2050. If by in 3 years' time we've got bent that curve so it's in that direction, that will be a major change from where we've been. I think, and it also means that we have to do not just the electricity, as Sarah said, but the other major policy, and we're not going to talk about that this evening, that the ministers are going to have to implement, is the changes to the safeguard mechanism, which are going to bring down emissions in the industry, heavy industries, which are becoming the biggest source of emissions, and transport. So there's some big challenges there, but we can do it. There's the number, there's the target. The minister can judge his performance by that.
Zoe Daniel?
In terms of performance, I think my measure is rebuilt trust, and that's to do with delivery and performance. As someone said to me this week, it's very hard to focus on integrity when you can't heat your house and you can't afford to buy a lettuce. So I just say to the minister, don't lose sight of why we're here and what we're trying to do. When you've been jettisoned into a crisis immediately after the election, it's easy to start getting stuck in that and forget what the big picture is, which is to rebuild trust and accountability and integrity for our communities.
Saul, 3 years' time?
I think the lesson from the election, as represented by Zoe, was this was not only the climate election, but this was very genuinely a community election. It was about households, it was about communities, it was about how they plan for the future. Irregardless of which party or if I was an independent, judging my success in 3 years, if I wanted, and I'm judging that success of if I want to win the next election in Australia, I think the project is measured by whether or not you can prove through demonstration communities, through implementing in real households, that we are going to lower that total cost of living for Australian households on their energy bills. And if you do that, you will absolutely win the next election. It will be an enormous success. Yes, we should also make the investments in heavy industry, but let's prove to Australia that we can lead the world by a mile on this transition. We can lower energy bills, improve quality of life, improve the air quality inside your home because the natural gas you're burning in your home is poisoning your children. We have everything to win. That is totally achievable in the 3-year cycle that we're talking about.